That's really cool.
Yeah, we'll all need to take that course. And Arlene, tell them where you're coming in from. You know,
Oh,
she's she's
I'm in Oregon.
yeah, she's coming in at quite a distance. So I always yeah. So she likes. I do like the fact we can do that. Now I just heard from Carl, and he was wondering when we were starting, and I didn't want to send an email out, although I usually do, because I didn't want to make people feel obligated. So we might give him a minute. But Lindsay, what we're going to do is pick up items here. We're going to go to the other island, put them down, and I'll show you how to position them. So we're not going to do a whole lot tonight, but I was wondering, Arlene had been able to get here before, so she already has items. What I'd like you to do, if you don't have them, just go around, pick up a couple of pieces of furniture. You pick things up by right-clicking them, and when you right-click an object, most of these objects here you can have. There was a very generous developer who created most of this, a woman named Linda Kelly. The rest was created by my nephew, who was 13 at the time. And I know he's now in architecture school, so I'm very proud
Wow.
of him. But what you do is, I'd say pick up at least one building, and you're going to have a lot of space in the other place because I have a kind of an empty island. But I'd say to begin with, you maybe don't want a super big building. And to pick up anything, you right click on the object, you give it a minute, a little wheel comes up. One of your options is called More. It then gives you more options. And finally get to an option that says Take Copy. So just while we wait for Carl, if you'd walk around, pick up, maybe fly over, get a couple of pieces of furniture, maybe pick up a building, and you can come back and forth and do this on your own later. So it doesn't matter if you don't make the best choice now. We're going to take some things to go over and practice with. So I'll wait here with Arlene, and why don't you put a few things into your inventory so when we go to the other space, you can take them out.
I actually already grabbed two things before I got here. I have a carousel and a swan ride. Will that
Ooh,
work?
that'll be fun. That'll be
Okay.
fun. Why don't you get a chair or something too?
Yeah, and
Because
here I did boring stuff like chairs and rugs and tables, you know.
you know,
Okay,
it
I'll get
sounds
a
easy
chair
at
too.
first. They're here, but then you go to make a room and you say, oh my goodness, I need a chair and I really need a coffee table. And what about some curtains? And then you go a little insane saying, I've got to stop this. You know, I really don't need to do more. But, you know, and then I have to stop myself. Okay, so you've got some things because we're just going to practice putting them down. But why don't you pick up at least one chair, because I want to show you they can be a little tricky because sometimes people don't sit on them right. And you could either hop over the fence or you might even be able to reach through the fence. I'm not sure. And
Yes, I can reach them from
oh,
here.
very good. And I'm just going to see, I'm going to see if I heard back from Carl. I just hesitate to leave if he's still signing in. Um, I'm wondering if I should have sent out the link again. Um, if you don't mind, I'm going to just go to my email for a minute and I'm going to send out a link. And so I will be here, but not paying attention for a minute while I try to find things.
Oh, what is your project, Lindsay?
I haven't decided quite yet. So this is my fourth semester. And one of the projects I want to do augmented reality, because the school that I work in has tons of iPads, and for the large majority of classrooms, we have an iPad per student. So I want to play with augmented reality apps with books to try to sort of increase literacy skills and interest in literacy skills. But for my bigger project, I don't really know the scope of yet. I wanted to play more in Kitely to see virtual reality because it's really interesting and I like it. But I'm not too sure yet.
The very
Yeah.
first time that I did Second Life, I felt like a gangly 2-year-old. And I still feel that way.
Yeah. I like being in Kitely, definitely. But is Second Life different than this one? Or is this considered Second Life?
No, it's actually, it's the same type of thing of where it's a virtual world. The thing that I've noticed on the difference between them is it seems like Kitely seems to be a little bit more user friendly if you're new, because like if you're walking, it'll let you walk through something, whereas in Second Life, there was one time I was trying to walk somewhere and I fell off the edge and found myself in the middle of this field of like tall grass and I couldn't see anything and I couldn't get out. And it's just like, really?
Yes, that's always challenging. And I think you're right. So in Kitely, I think I visited another island that was like a really closed off building. And I think I was trying to walk through it and I tried flying through it and I was still just sort of stuck. And I was like, maybe if I just teleport somewhere else, then I can get myself out of it. Yeah.
Well, and I might just, we'll give Carl a little bit more time, but then we'll go over and play with what we've gotten here. But we can come back and forth. And I'll tell you too, what happened was Second Life came out, I think it was 2004. What is it? Philip Rosedale started it, programmer. He's now on to other brilliant things. He's the Oculus Rift. He does the headsets, so he's moved beyond it. But it was the first attempt to create a 2D/3D environment that wasn't through the big gaming companies. The game companies have a lot of money, so they were able to do things that, most people can't afford. So he made it so that you could create your own experience. The games hire storytellers. They have a lot of other things going. So they create a model, they create materials, and so they have a lot of money. Second Life was to let people start building on their own. But it became expensive. Excuse me. And not quite sure how it happened, but the programmers put the source code out there for the public. So this is what they call open source. So now you can, the code is free and available. Matter of fact, you can download this code that runs this island onto your own computer. And there's a group out at California, at UC Irvine and Stanford, that actually make these materials available totally for free. But you still have to know how to put it on a server and do all these other things. So there's a group out of Israel that started Kitely. And so they take on the server setup for you. And you can rent 4 islands with 40 avatars for $20 a month, which is what I do. Wow. So I have 2 sets of islands. So we're going to go to my other island, which is my play island. And this summer I had a bunch of kids in, doing things. And so you can download the island onto your computer. And what I like is if people get enough interest, then I have a course where it will really teach you how to do these things. You can build. And if it's just the 3 of us, I can show you some building when we get to the other place. But everything you see was made with little boxes that people colored, changed, and artistically created. So, you can build from scratch, but for most of us, we're not 3D designers, and it's very hard to build in 3D. I've tried. Now, though, there's a lot of free and available things. So what you can do is take the free things, use them, repurpose them. You can change the colors. You can do things so that you don't have to start from scratch. Or, if you get funding, then you do hire an artist or become the artist yourself, and you can really make creative things. But what you do here, I just mostly use it for meeting space. I wish I had the time to do more creative things, but you could turn it into a game. You could turn it into adventure. Kids are familiar with the interface, so you have to be careful because kids are expecting a game. So, you have to think about what they're going to do when they're here. For adults, we're still awkward in this space. Kids are just the opposite. I know, and I was trying to work with a 10-year-old and they were flying off, you know. So I had just the opposite problems there. So, well, I will keep an eye on my email in case Carl does send me another note. And I am taping this if he wants to see it later. But why don't we go over to my other island? And the way you do that is open the map icon on the bottom. Oh, and I have a little handout with all of this that I'll send to you. I just didn't want to overwhelm people with too much material. But open that map, bottom right, and you'll see where we are right now and where the little green dots. So I can click and drag around the map. I don't see any other green dots, so I don't think Carl is anyplace else. And you'll see to the right, you should see it says Marian Island right now. Type in Marian Test as one word, MARIANTEST. And I'm typing it in myself. And then click enter or find. I think either one will do it. And it will show you the other islands. And what you should see, you can click and drag around the island. You should see an aerial picture to the left actually shows you there are some buildings and there's a little lake. The rest of it is empty. If you, and I'm not going to click yet to go there, but if you go over to the top right quadrant, it's divided into fours, and kind of double click into the middle of that, you'll get transported over. And it'll open up the island. It doesn't open the islands till people actually want to use them. So if you just try to double click into the middle of the top right quadrant, and that's going to be a big space, and I'll try to find you when you get there. And then I'll show you how to take things out of your inventory. But are you okay with
Should we go there now?
Yeah, go there now, and I'll join you. And
okay.
And a sign comes up saying that
it says teleport failed. The World Marian Test was offline. Oh, now being started.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, it takes a minute.
Hello.
Oh, I see somebody. Wait, that sounds like Arlene. Okay.
It is me.
Oh, good. We're all here. We're here. Great. And, you know, mine keeps on going to sunset. So I'm going to go back up to world, sun position. I'm going to go to midday simply because I see better then. But if you be in whatever setting you like, and not sure what setting you come out on. So we'll try taking out a few things here, moving them around. But then what I'd like you to do, if you want to come back and have a place to play, spread out, find a corner of this big expanse right now and start making your own little space. Because that way, if you decide you want to keep on building it, I'll keep it open all semester. You can always come back. And you don't want to be on top of each other in case you decide you want to get fancy and you want to put in a roadway, you know, you want to have some space. So let's open your inventory, and that's it's supposed to look like a suitcase icon. It's the fourth one in from the right. And once you open that, one of the little categories should be objects. And it's got a little twisty next to it. So if you open that up, you should hopefully see some of the items that you saved. So are you able to see those?
Yes.
Okay. Lindsay, can
Yes.
you see them? Good. Now, we ought to separate out a little bit here because what you want to do now is pull the item out. And it might fall on the land funny. Try not to pull it onto yourself because then you get it stuck on yourself. And I'll have to teach you how to take it off. And I have a little tutorial on that. But what I'm going to try to do is I'll pull out something kind of small. I'm going to pull out my tropical lounge chair and drop it on the ground. So pull something out of your inventory.
I got a whole kitchen.
Oh, get a whole kitchen. Okay. I love it. Don't you wish shopping were this easy and this inexpensive?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I do find that it gets addictive. Oh, nice. And I think you have a lamp too. Arlene has a couple of things. So once something's out, the next thing is positioning it. And to position everything that you can get, and all of these things are really free. If you remember to, if you hold down Alt on your keyboard, you get a magnifying glass. And what you want to do, just to make it easier here, click the magnifying glass, click on the object you got, and then zoom in so you can see the object pretty clearly. And then what you do is right click on the object just like before, but this time you go and choose Edit. So right click on the object, choose Edit, and a menu comes up and your object gets handles around it. It gets a green arrow, it gets a blue arrow, it gets a red arrow, and you can move the object up and down with the arrows. And so try moving your object, and depending on whether your object is one thing or multiple things, and yep, I see Arlene's moving hers. Then while you're moving it, if you hold down the Control on your keyboard, CTRL, you can actually, tip the object. It'll rotate in different dimensions. So, have a little experimenting, moving your objects around, tipping them. And they can get stuck below the land too. I do see, I think some people are back on the other island. So what I'm going to do is leave you ladies here for yourself for a while, if that's okay. Practice pulling objects out, moving them around, and I'll go see if I can find people on the other island. And I'll be right back, okay? I'm just waiting for myself to be transported there. Hi, it's Eileen. I don't know if anybody's here. It's Eileen. Is anybody here? It's Eileen. So, are you starting to make the beautiful things you want here? I think Lindsay brought in
Yes.
the swing. Okay, and it's the swing seat, and she's got her swan. Actually,
I love this one.
I know. I think, let me see if I can sit on your swan. Yeah, yeah, I'm
Oh,
sitting on your
cool.
swan. Yeah. It's actually part of a ride. They have like the amusement park. Hey,
That sounds
Arlene,
interesting.
you want to try to
Yes.
sit on it with me? Sometimes
Sure.
they have, try clicking sit here. They have positions for more than one, although sometimes I should wonder, you know, where you get these. I'm not sure whether they have a lover's trail. I better find out. I pick up this free, well, I think maybe I'll sit on your seat here. Yeah, Arlene, you want to try? I don't know if two people can be on the swan at once. We're both there. Okay, let me zoom in, and I'm zooming in by clicking the magnifying glass. Oh, and Lindsay's come up. Are you going to charge us, Lindsay, for being on your swan? You know, the Ferris wheel. A lot of these things have multiple sits, they're called, and as you can see, the technology's pretty decent, but you know, they're still working a lot on more realistic avatars and all things, but I kind of like it being unrealistic too. So you've got your basics. Were both of you able to move things around and position them?
I didn't seem to be able to do the tilt.
Oh, tilt, what you have to do with tilt, now this is Lindsay's, I don't think I can do it. Lindsay, can you try to tilt us? What you do is tip you edit the item by clicking on it and going into the edit mode. And when you have those arrows, you also have to hold Control on the keyboard. And that brings
While
the
you're
wheel
doing
up. So you probably just weren't holding Control.
Can you see this moving?
No, can you see it moving? It's not, oh, yes. Yes, we're getting a little seasick.
So it didn't, I don't know if you can see it until I'm done rotating it. So if I rotate now to a new position,
Okay.
then
You can,
I
there
let
we
go and I
go.
think you can see it.
Now it's
That's
definitely a
cool.
ride, an amusement park ride. Oh, okay. Well, you know, it's nice when you have people here to test it with you. Now, here's another thing you can do with all of these. When you have the handles, and I don't know if Lindsay wants to do this now. I'm not sure what's going to happen to us if she does it.
Okay.
Right-click to get the handles back, go into the edit mode, and now you can pull out more copies of this. So if you want to pull out a second swan, so I'm not sure where we'll go when you do this, but you hold Shift on the keyboard and pull in the direction you want the second swan. So if you want it to be in the green direction, pull it that way. It should make a second swan. There it goes. Did you see that, Arlene? She's got a second swan there.
Yes.
Okay, and we stayed on the first one. So that's why I wanted you, if you have some furniture, something that you want to bring around. Now I'm going to try to see if I can sit on the second swan. So I'm just taking a little, okay, yep, I went over there. Where did I go? Oh, I think I'm sitting in a different position. I have my arm around, I'm not sure what my arm is around. So you want to test, and what I've done at times is I create second avatars. And for Kitely, what you have to do is just get different email accounts, and then you can create other avatars. So I'll sometimes test a second avatar, and you know, so I can test different things. So I'm going to see if I could move this one. I don't know. No, I'm going into edit, but I don't own this. This ride is owned by Lindsay Regan. And did I say your last name right, Lindsay? Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Okay. And so I can't move it. She can move it. Now, technically, I'm the owner of the island, so what I can do is kick people off it. I won't do that because this is our play space for the semester. But if you were to take the course, or if you don't want to take the course, I have a book that has a lot of directions in it, and it's pretty good. But it shows you how you can set up ownership, how you can set up privacy areas. This island is technically open to the public, but there aren't a lot of people coming around. You can make an island and make it private. So if you want to bring kids on it, you can make it so that other people can't get on it except for a certain group. There are lots of ways you can build. You can build on your own. And as you can see, you can take things. Now I'm going to see if I can take something. Well, Lindsay, you want to try something again? You've been pretty good so far. You want to change the color
Sure.
of your swan?
Sure.
Okay, what you do is click on the swan whose color you want to change. Now, I'm just thinking, I might be getting a little too advanced here. There are two ways to build. One of them is you take little boxes and link them together. There's another way where you go to the fancier art programs like Illustrator, and you can make something called meshes, and they're more realistic. This might be a mesh item, and I'm not sure if this will work, but oh goodness, she already did it. Very good.
I was playing with it and I kind of said, I think that might be it.
You did it.
So
You did it.
yes, I like to learn by sort of like the testing. I'm sort of a guest test revise person.
Exactly. Well, that's why learning is more intuitive today. Now, there should be ways that you could just change some of the colors. And when you actually right-click on it, you go into an edit mode if you choose. And one of the options says, and let's see, I'm not in it now. There's something that lets you edit only certain parts of it. So let me see. I'm gonna stand up. Oh, I'm trying to record this and I can't see my stand button. I'm going to try sitting in a different chair. And Arlene, you want to try with some of yours? You want to pull something out and try to change its color?
I was working on the lamp, and
You want to get
I
the
got
lamp?
to
The nice thing about
Feature.
something big is that you can see the changes better. So actually, Lindsay's swan, I'm going to try to pull something out of to stand up, you have to find the stand button. And mine is hidden. Let me find, oh, I found it. I found my stand button. Mine was over in the bottom there. Oh yeah, okay, Lindsay changed the texture. I'm going to try to find something that shows me, I have a waterfall, I have all sorts of things which could work. Try to just find something big. My piano table. That's kind of tiny.
What does the unlink mean? So I'm sort of in
I just changed
the
the color of my
edit
yes.
mode.
furniture.
Well, there are two unlinks, and you have to be careful. You can actually take your entire thing apart, and then you have a lot of pieces. Here, I got a fireplace. Okay, that's kind of big. Okay. Now, if I'm right-clicking on it, if I go to edit, if I unlink it, every piece falls apart. I mean, they don't fall apart, but they separate. If before I do that, though, I click Edit Linked. So if you right-click on something, you should see this where it says Edit Linked. Now I'm going to click that. Then I select the face. Okay, I've got my fireplace, which has a big spout coming out of it, whatever you call that thing. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and now I'm going to make that into something ridiculous so you can see it. Yeah, and so, oh, no, I didn't do it. I changed the whole thing. I was trying to, now I've got green fire and everything.
Yes.
But Lindsay learns by doing, and I just did I did what I didn't want to do. But, I have another copy. I could pull it out. And Arlene, have you been able to try to, pull out something else and see if you can? Oh, wait.
I changed the color on the furniture.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to look around, see if I can find it. Now, the secret is if you can just change only a piece of it. And
Yeah.
You two are quick studies. I do have, you've already gone past what I was going to show you tonight. So you can see, what do I have? Well, I have all sorts of, I'm going to pull my waterfall out and do a little showing off. I think that if you want this waterfall, I think you can just pick it up too here, because it was created by Linda Kelly, and oh no, now it's created by me. I'm not sure if you can, everything on Marion Island should be something you could pick up, but I'm not sure about this, whether you can pick that up here. Did anybody bring over any trees or something? They're fun.
Hold on.
I have a daisy field I brought over, and I just
Yeah, I
put
saw
out.
you wearing your daisy field.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Well, and if you go around Marion Island, everything there you should be able to pick up. You should be able to pick up a pathway. You should be able to pick up a bridge. You should be able to pick up a tree, a palm tree, an evergreen. They're all, unless I made a mistake, I tried to set them all so that they were, anybody could pick them up. And what you can do then is come over here, find a remote corner that you call your own. And I don't want to assign things because it's going to get a little hard if other people come over, but try to find a space. And if you want to keep practicing, start building something. Maybe put some, okay, I've got my daisy field and I clicked on it. Now I'm going to hit shift and then pull out another one, and I'm going to pull out another one. And so before you know it, I can have, a daisy field, or I could make a pathway. And so you start taking the space and creating what you want. Now, if you have a building, you can put things inside the building. What I find, though, it's a little harder to move things inside the building. Let me see. I think I have a building here. And sometimes you'll see when I have people meet at the beginning, I don't have them go into a building because it's a little hard for them to navigate. So here I'm going to pull out a building that's called the Garden Center. Okay. And I could put it below ground. I could move it around. Oh, sorry, Lindsay. Didn't mean to push.
That's okay.
Okay. And I could move, well, let's see. I've got it up a little bit high. I got to bring it down again. I could start putting some of my furniture into the building. And so I went and I deliberately put in a rather simple building. So, it had a lot of open spaces if people don't know how to navigate. And we know we all get stuck, as you said. So I could walk over here, and then I could pull out some chairs here. Oops. Maybe I'll bring my building down a little bit. It's a little, people have to know how to fly to get into it. Let's see. Yeah, Arlene, you could put some chairs in my building. There. Okay, just high enough. Okay. There. My avatar looks a little indecent from the back. I don't know. I hope it doesn't look that way all the time. So if you like, you could pull things out if this were your building. Oh, there. Oh, okay. Arlene did it. Somebody has to do it. We always put things on ourselves. Now the secret is to figure out how to get it off.
I can't seem to rotate though. So what am I doing wrong here?
Well, I think try walking. I think you've got the piece of furniture on yourself.
I got it.
Okay.
Ah.
Oh, there, you're rotating. And you're going to bring it into the house here? I think I have a nice pillow seat. Although it kind of disappears a little bit. I found a pillow seat, and then I'm going to sit here. But it doesn't really show too much. So you start to see, if you want to have a place where you don't have to make it look like the real world, but people seem to understand better what you want them to do. If you want to have seats, it depends. If you have an adult audience, you might want to have seats. If you have kids, they might want to fly around. If you want to test out what they want, There. Okay, Arlene, I'm going to sit in your chair.
For some reason, it
Wait.
seems to be floating. Why is it floating?
Let me see. Yeah, it wouldn't let me sit yet. I think, are you still adjusting it?
No.
No? Well, that would be then just where you left it. It doesn't automatically orient itself to the object it's sitting on. That's going to be a function of how you rotate it. So, click on it again and see if you can rotate it. There you go. You're levitating it. You can see, Lindsay, why 3D building in concept is easy. In practice, you can go crazy trying to line things up. I will tell you, I've
Yes.
done that.
I can't seem to get it to.
To go where you wanted to. Oops, now you went underground. And you can lose things. I lose things. I will find that the part of the house I couldn't find is underground someplace. So, what you want to do is, if you have time, come back and practice a little bit. You can, none of you have to do this. I just wanted people to see that
There, it
today
just
it's
went
very easy
underground.
to make environments. Yeah, you're partway underground, Arlene. You have an underground seating. Maybe you've got a basement there. And
Maybe
so,
it's a Harry Potter table.
yeah. Well, my nephew. Now I think she's trying to force me to sit there. I wonder if I could sit on it. No, it went. My nephew dug tunnels, and when he was 13, he's now at an architecture school, so he doesn't have time for it anymore. But he would make tunnels and put furniture under it. And if
Wow.
you have time, I could show you one last thing for today, which is fun but dangerous. It's called terraforming. And I think Arlene has she's, what do you call it? I think she's a hallucinogen. She's bringing things up from underneath. Her table's a
I
little
can't seem to
stuck
get
here.
it to sit down. So if I didn't want it there anymore, how do I take it off?
Well, you would try to find it, and you're going to lose it soon if it goes underneath, and then it becomes hard to find. Well, you know what I'm going to do?
I do have it.
I'm going to I'm going to take this one away. Okay, so I just took away the house, and the way I did it was I right-clicked on it. Sometimes just right-clicking, and then you can press delete to erase it. Other times, when you right-click, you have to find the delete in the wheel. And I think I'm going to delete the thing I'm sitting on, and I'm going to click delete. Okay, that'll make me stand up. So, but you can see, you control where things are. There are other programs called SketchUp and everything where things automatically stay oriented to the island. This one doesn't. When you bring up that wheel, as you play with it, you'll start noticing that I think you're a magician. You'll start noticing that there's the dimensions, north, south, east, and west show up to help you put things in. The bad thing about virtual reality and all of these programs, there's not an undo button. So you can't go back and undo things. What I do with my islands, because I can make a mistake and blow my island away, I literally save them. Every so often, I just save them on my computer so that if I really do a horrendous thing, I can put my old island back. So, but the fact there's not an undo button makes you learn that pretty quickly. But so just to review what we've done and see, are you ladies comfortable with this and you just practice? One way to get things is to just get them from Marion Islands. Those are all free things. Put them in your inventory and then bring them to a sandbox area. And this is a sandbox. It's open. Anybody can kind of build here right now. I put no restrictions on it. Get practice positioning things. Make duplicate copies. If you want to create a seating area, if you want to put a table in the middle of it, if you want to put a building around it, you can go to the other island and get the tiki thing, which is kind of outdoorsy. or you could get a more formal building. So, make a little space for yourself. Think about, from an education perspective, what you might do in that space. Could it be role playing? Could it be a game? Could it be a meeting? Could it be a lecture? It can be anything you want it to be. So the storyline, you create the environment, but then you have to create the story or the learning pieces, So that's what makes virtual hard. It's easy enough to create the space, but then what do you do with the space? And what we'll do is, in the program, we'll be saying, okay, you've got a nice space, what are you going to do with it? But there's one last thing I'd like to show you. And do you have okay, get about 5 more minutes.
I figured out why I couldn't put the table down. I was actually wearing it.
Oh, yes. I'm going to send you to a tutorial after we leave, and everybody does that. And so I even have a little video to show you how to get it off. Some things are easy to get off.
I get it.
Yeah. If you put a whole house on yourself, sometimes you can't find where the house is. It literally becomes a piece of furniture, an attachment that you're wearing. Like the sash I have on is an attachment. What you were wearing your table, it was an attachment. I thought so. It seemed to move with you. So good, Arlene, you're a good troubleshooter. But now this last thing I'm going to show you could be dangerous. It's called terraforming.
The voice is cut out.
Oh, did my voice cut out? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I wonder why that happened. The last thing I want to show you is called terraforming. And this is like our real scratch pad here. Everything is flat. You can make it become water by pushing the land down. You can make it become a mountain by pushing the land up. And what happens is, depending on your computer, my computer, and the servers, when you institute a command to move the land, it doesn't always happen right away. And what I find is I get frustrated. My mountain didn't get big enough, and before I know it, I've got a mountain crazy big. And so what we'll do is some crazy testing now of how to make the land. And I'm going to keep this feature on. They generally recommend you turn it off for a sandbox, because what can happen is you can blow away somebody else's work too. But if you ladies spread out far enough, if you do come back, go to a corner of the island, of this big space, so that if somebody messes up a mountain in their space, it won't affect yours. But what you want to do is right-click on the land, just on the blank land, and choose Edit Terrain. And you should see options come up. And keep in mind, you can click the revert button later. Do you all see revert there? So you could, if you make something that you really didn't mean to, you could revert it back. But for now, notice that I'm going to pick the option to lower. And I'm going to keep, it gives me a little bulldozer. I'm going to keep the size and the strength the same. And this acts a little weirdly. I'm going to make the size smaller. I'm going to make it very small. And I'm going to keep on clicking to lower it. And I'm not sure if you can see it yet, but do you see some water coming up?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really cool.
Yeah, that's how you make it. Well, it's one of the ways you make water. And you see it has a reflection and everything. So I just lowered the land. I'm wondering if I can click revert. No, it's too late. It was too late for me to click revert. But why don't you try lowering the land a bit? So you could make your own stream, then you could make a bridge. You could go get a bridge. See if you can lower some. And you right click, bring up Edit Terrain, and you can lower it, and then you can also practice raising it a bit. I hear somebody trying. I don't see any change yet, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
comes
you
up
know
with
what? Maybe I turned it off. Hold on. let me see if I remember where I set that. You know, they just do warn you to be careful with letting people do this. Parcel details, let me see if I can find it. Option, terraforming. Okay, I'm going to let you do it. I'm sorry. I didn't have it turned on. Just checking, just testing. Now see if you can lower your land. Sorry, I had the permission turned off. Hopefully it goes on right away. Still can't do
It
it?
keeps coming up with a thing of white stuff.
Oh, okay, I'm wondering, parcel details, everyone, it does say use with caution. I want to make sure it should let you terraform. I don't know if it takes a moment for it to take effect. But I turned it on, so even if you have to come back at another time. The other thing is, oops. Oh, I think it's on. Yeah. Oh, are we going through? Yeah. What it's doing is actually implementing it. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that was weird. Did you have an earthquake? That's what I think. It goes into a little bit of a delay, and that's why I've created all sorts of craziness. And that's why I save my islands all the time, so that I don't make that mistake. Now just try to see if you can do the opposite. Right-click, edit terrain, and raise your land. We're now underwater.
Whoa.
Oh, Arlene, are you okay? It looks like you're drowning there. Up there. So you can kind of see why they say to be cautious with doing this and with giving permissions. I will tell you, my nephew, he was doing a great job, and he made all these things. I came in and played with the terrain, and I had water in all the buildings and everything. My sister called. He was crying. I ruined things, so I've been careful. But as you can see, as landowner, you have a lot of permissions. And what I've learned the hard way of doing this is, being very careful about terraforming. But it really is how you create beautiful effects. But for beginners, I always say just keep it flat, put trees on it, put your buildings out, and you'll be okay. So anyway, I think you guys did a great job.
You cut out again.
Oh, sorry. I wonder why that happens. Well, I do have to run. But just to review, you have questions? Yeah. Go back and forth. You're free to come back. If you want to build, what I suggest is, find a corner someplace so somebody doesn't mess you up with terraforming. If you want to keep on practicing. And you can always email me questions. I have a brief handout I'll send you. I have a full-blown handout for people who are actually developing the islands. If you like, just let me know and I'll give you the link to that too. But I know you all have a lot of things to do, and so I don't think building is going to be a big part of it. But I do encourage people, if they're thinking of it, I have a whole class in this where you take a semester and people do some incredible things. So if it's of interest, you might start thinking about it. That's why I wanted to show people. You could either do a little mini piece. See, Lindsay's in a course. She's in the Advanced Design Seminar. If she wanted to try to make a little space, she could do a mini thing this semester, or she could just say, I think I might try it in another course. So, it depends on what your situation is. But I do have tutorials that if you're a self-starter, you can kind of learn on your own. So anyway.
After seeing this and sort of practicing, I think I do want to do that. It's awesome.
Yes. Well, decide, Lindsay, because you're going to be deciding this week in the course whether you want to take on something like this. You could make it part of the course, but you'd just pick a small thing. You'd say, okay, I'm going to create a space and I'm going to bring my special ed kids in and they're going to do whatever. So you
Right.
wouldn't do a huge thing. You would do something small that could give
Okay.
you the opportunity to play with this. I could help you. And then if you really got into it, you could say, well, I'm going to take the virtual reality course and make it part of my final project. Or you could just say, I learned
Ah,
enough, I'll do something else. And
okay.
Arlene will just do it because she's going to create her virtual training center out there in Oregon. And it's nice, Arlene. You can have a space and you don't have to travel, and your customers can come and they won't have to travel. So I think that's always a big plus. Um,
Yeah,
so anyway,
this is future. I'm just here because I like to learn something new. So it
yeah.
was available. I'm here.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a lifelong learner. So I hope we all are. But listen, thank you, ladies. Stay as long as you like. Come back whenever you want. I'll send you one handout when you're ready. If you want to go bigger, I have a bigger handout, but I don't want to overwhelm you. So thank you very
Okay, thank
much.
you, Elaine.
Okay, take
Yes, thank
care.
you.
All right,
You
bye.
too. Bye.